Many Christians know that in this parable the talents are gifts. However, they do not know the source of the gifts is the Lord's possession. Today, the Lord's possessions primarily are the gospel, the truth, the believers, and the church. If you do not care for these things, you will not have any talents. The gospel needs to become our possession. The same is true of the truth, the believers, and the churches. My talents are not natural. Rather, they are the gospel, the truth, the believers, and the church. If you took all these things away from me, I will have nothing left. I have a strong talent because I have not only the gospel and the truth, but also thousands of believers and hundreds of churches. This is the reason this ministry has had impact. We should not wait in an indifferent way for the Lord to give us something. No, we must diligently seek the gospel and the truth. We should be eager to know the fall of man, redemption, regeneration, salvation, the cleansing of the blood, and the washing of the Spirit. All these are aspects of the full gospel. The more you receive of the gospel, the more talents you will have. We need to pray that the Lord would help us to know the truth and to experience it. We need to experience the truth concerning the church, God's eternal purpose, and God's economy. Eventually, these truths will become our talent. Then we shall be able to minister them to others. In this way, the Lord's possession become our talent. Furthermore, we need to pray. Lord, I want to take care of the saints and bear their burdens. My heart is for them. If we have a heart for the saints and are burdened for them, they, the Lord's possession, will be given to us as a talent. How thankful I am that so many saints and churches have become my talent. My ministry is strongly backed up by all the saints and all the churches in the Far East. If the Lord sent me to another place, I would also have the support of the churches in the United States, for the churches here have become an addition to my talent. If you want to receive more talents, you must have a heart to care for the saints. For example, when someone is employed, you need to pray for him and bear his burden. This will be a proof that the Lord has given that one to you as a talent. However, not to bear the saints or care for them means that you forsake the Lord's possession. Every dear saint is a precious part of the Lord's possession. It is not a small matter to be concerned for the saints, for they are the Lord's possession. When the Lord's possessions are in His hand, they remain His possessions. But when they are delivered to us, they become our talent. Do not drop any burden that the Lord has given you. No matter how busy I am, I cannot drop any talent. For to do this is to drop the Lord's possession. The Lord had a vast work in His recovery. For this work, He needs thousands of young brothers and sisters to be raised up to bear the responsibility. The talent is not something of your natural birth. Rather, it is altogether related to your burden. If you take up a burden, you will receive a talent. If you take up a burden for one local church, you will receive one talent. But if you take up the burden for 5 churches, you will have 5 talents. During the past 28 years, more than 280 churches have been built up under the ministry. Recently, when I was accused, criticized, and condemned, I asked the Lord whether or not this ministry was wrong. At that time, He pointed out to me that the way to know the tree is by its fruit. He told me to look how many churches have been established and built up by this ministry. However, if we are ambitious for ourselves, this ambition will kill the talents. To each according to his ability. Although the talents are not our ability, but the Lord's possession, they are delivered to us according to our ability. Our ability is constituted by God's creation and our learning. The capacity of our ability is based upon the willingness of our heart. If we do not have any willingness in our heart, then we shall not have the capacity to receive the talent. The capacity to receive the talent is measured by the willingness of our heart. those with 5 talents and 2 talents trading with them. Verses 16 and 17 say, Immediately he who received the 5 talents went and traded with them and gained another 5. Similarly, he who received the 2 gained another 2. To trade with the talents signifies using the gift the Lord has given us, and to gain other talents signifies that the gift we receive from the Lord has been used to the fullest extent without any loss or waste. According to chapter 24, the slave is to supply food to those in the household. This refers to the ministering of the nourishing word with the riches of Christ as the life supply to those in the Lord's house. Here, however, it speaks of trading with the talents to cause the talents to multiply. Therefore, the result of our service has 2 aspects. The first aspect is that others are fed and given rich nourishment. The second aspect is that the lost possessions are multiplied. For example, the more we preach the gospel, the richer the gospel becomes. It's the same with the truths. As we minister the truths to others, the truths multiply. This is also true of the saints and the churches. Both the believers and the churches will multiply. Thus, 5 talents are multiplied into 10, and 2 talents are multiplied into 4. The slave with 1 talent digging in the earth and hiding it. Verse 18 says, But he who received the 1 went away and dug in the earth and hid his Lord's silver. The main emphasis in this parable is on the 1-talented one, the one who received the smallest gift. It is very easy for the least gifted ones to fail to make the proper use of their gift. As the earth signifies the world, so to dig in the earth signifies getting into the world. Any association, any involvement with the world, even a little worldly talk, will bury the Lord's gift to us. Hiding the Lord's silver signifies rendering the Lord's gift useless, letting it lie waste under the cloak of certain earthly excuses. Any excuse for not using the Lord's gift is to hide it. This is always the danger with the 1-talented ones, those who consider their gifts as the smallest. With the 1-talented slaves in this parable, there is no multiplication. For instance, in a certain area, there may be 1 church. 10 years later, there is still 1 church in that area. Some may think that the 1-talented slave did well in not losing his talent and in returning to the Lord what was his. The 1-talented slave seemed to say, Lord, here is what is yours. You gave me 1 talent, and I have been faithful to keep, guard, protect, and preserve it. By your mercy and grace, I have kept it. But the issue of our service must be the multiplication of our talents. It is not the Lord's will for us simply to maintain what He has given us. If you are faithful merely to keep the gospel, the truth, and the church without any multiplication, the Lord will say that you are slothful. Furthermore, He will call you an evil slave. In the eyes of the Lord, it is evil to bury the talent and not to multiply it. The Lord does not care for our arguments or excuses. He cares only that the 1 talent is multiplied into 2. This is a serious matter. Our service must issue in the feeding and satisfaction of others and in the multiplication of the talent. Life Study of Matthew, Message 66, Prophecy of the Kingdom. In this message, we shall continue our consideration of the parable for faithfulness. The Lord of the slaves coming to settle accounts with them. Verse 19 says, Now after a long time, the Lord of those slaves comes and settles accounts with them. A long time signifies the entire church age, and the coming signifies the Lord's coming to the air. In his parousia, to settle accounts signifies the Lord's judgment at his judgment seat. In the air, within his parousia, where the believer's life, conduct, and work will be judged for reward or punishment. The 5 talented and the 2 talented ones both receiving a reward. Verse 26, And he who received the 5 talents came and brought another 5 talents, saying, Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained another 5 talents. The coming of the 5 talented one refers to the coming to the judgment seat of Christ. Gaining another 5 talents is the result of the full use of the gift of the 5 talents.